morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you today. CKLU 96.7 FM and CKLU.ca. You can just click on the Radio Player Canada app logo and listen to us right online there, or you can actually download the app, listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Thanks for being with us in this new community conversation that we have going on. Harder to have a conversation while you're just listening on the radio, but we are also on YouTube Live, where you can chime in anytime you want. Also Facebook Live. Feel free to comment, because this is, in fact, your show. We're just facilitating a conversation around community issues and community stories. And the news basically takes care of itself. It just kind of, things are happening each and every day, which makes it easy for us on our end. And when I speak of us, I'm joined today in the studio. In the hot seat again today, joining us is Annick Gervais.
Hello.
Yeah, and she's raring to go. She said she hasn't had such a good morning in so long.
My headphones are really loud.
Yeah, sorry about that. I won't speak as loud.
I can fix that.
Is that better? Yeah, Billy.
Billy the fixer-upper.
Speaking of Billy, he's here too. Now he's not. So he's going to be fixing Annick's headphones. And so my headphones were loud the other day. Oh, I know why maybe they're loud, because he had a band in here last night doing some recording, and maybe just something got a little bit shifted. So little dials.
Well, there
That's all
you go.
it takes.
Perfect.
And so
much better.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool that there's a recording studio in the valley. So if anybody is interested in recording,
that's right.
Get in touch with us.
Exactly. That's as easy as it is. Just get on any of our socials. You can get on Annick's socials if you're interested. Billy Brummeller's socials, my socials, Sudbury News socials. You know, nowadays it's pretty easy to get in contact with someone, right?
It's true.
Like, think of how many ways you can contact somebody.
Like, I was checking the news this morning and I contacted a few people we're going to talk about.
Really?
I did. It was just easy to find them on Facebook.
Oh, wow. And they responded to you?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not
okay,
yet.
okay.
I'll see.
You just kind of put it out there.
Said, hey, we are part of the Sudbury News. We go live every single morning. We'd love to talk to you.
Oh, wow.
So I'll let you know who I talked to.
Okay. We're going to keep that the mystery guest who's in the news. Well,
yeah.
And again, all they have to do is chat back, right? In a way, like you can just ask them a question. They don't even have to come on physically or whatever, virtually.
Pretty easy to contact people these days.
It is. And apparently,
it's good and scary at the same time.
Yeah, some of us like having excuses. Try to get a hold of you, but couldn't think of how to do that.
I didn't have your number.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard now, to do that, to do the whole curb your enthusiasm thing.
Yeah.
Remember when people just showed up at your house? Remember those times?
Oh, yeah. Ding dong. Oh, who's here today?
And then they stay for a couple hours.
Yeah, I think those days
are over.
Pretty much over.
Yeah.
Now people are like, what? You didn't call or you didn't tell us you were coming? You know?
How rude.
Yeah. And I know at my grandma's house, it used to be right around supper time too. So everyone had that idea that I think just dropping in because there's supper.
You know what? I'm that type. If you're my friend, Nick will show up usually around dinner time.
Well, at least you're letting everyone know.
I tell that to people on Instagram all the time.
I'm coming over for dinner.
I'm hungry. I'll probably be showing up at someone's house.
Yeah. And so here I am.
Cooking for one is kind of annoying.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
There's this
and hard sometimes too, right? Like it's like, and if you were to just kind of sit in on someone's supper, it's almost like
you're part of the family.
That and the amount of food that they have anyways, it's not even like it's really
a problem.
There's not enough food for everyone because they've already made enough for the family. So,
and I like socializing. I realized by not being being isolated for 2 years that it actually had a pretty big effect on me. Like I'm an extreme extrovert and I need people around me.
I was listening to the radio on the way back from work last night, Q92, and they were talking about there's a new kind of business idea out there. There's a guy who he's a professional cuddler.
Oh my gosh.
And he charges $90 an hour. And he'll cuddle you for like up to 8 hours if you want. And he has something like 80 different positions of cuddling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and he's booked solid. So that tells you, right? Like people are so in need of human contact after all this stuff.
Billy, is this a type of business you'd like to be in?
Yeah, I'd like to get a fix on what this guy's actually doing. Like this doesn't make sense to me, but
book him and see.
Yeah. Well,
I'd more like to have him on the show and say, tell us about your client.
All right, let me call him. Message him on Facebook.
I'm like Billy. I don't know if I'd feel so comfortable like utilizing his services myself. Like, it might be I just don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
It's one of I can see a need for it. Like, there's definitely there's a lot of desire for human contact. Just just touching.
Right. Yeah. But cuddling kind of leads to something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Like, it's got to be, does he charge extra? What's
What's that deal?
It's amazing. That's where exactly my mind went to when I was listening to that story is, I wonder if it's just cuddling or he upsells some of his services. Anyways, you just can't help being human sometimes.
Yep. That's what we are.
And now, speaking of human, we're affected by the weather. So let's just check in on what our weather's looking like for today and the next near future, and we'll be right back. Yeah, so weather, relatively nice out there, 11 degrees. The humidity is about 91%, which is fairly high, but doesn't feel too bad out there. It's nice. It's a nice morning as far as mornings go. Mix of sun and cloud today, becoming sunny this morning. Wind will be 20 kilometers from the northwest, gusting to 40. High of 22, UV index today, 7 or high. Tonight, clear, and the low will be 9. And then Friday, it's a good Friday, sunny, 23. UV index will be 7 or high. Long range, Friday, again, sunny. Saturday, sunny. Love that. And then looks like some clouds are rolling in as far as the forecast is concerned on Sunday. Cloudy on Sunday, not sunny. High of 21. And then, again, I don't even want to talk about going further. They're looking at a little bit of showers, only 30% on Monday. And then after that, your regular mix of sun and cloud. We'll be back with Nick and Billy and some headlines right after this. And here we are. We're back. So thanks for being with us again. Just a reminder to feel free to chime in as we're discussing these different topics today. Sometimes they're hyper local and they're just to do with Sudbury, but sometimes they actually have a more wider effect globally sometimes. So yeah, if you are watching from somewhere outside of Sudbury, welcome first of all. And this conversation could even be entertaining somewhat or informative as well. So, and make sure to share the page and the video, all of our socials. We really appreciate the support. So this is basically a service for you. So the more that you're contributing, the better it is.
It's like, tell us what you like. Tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Share the stories.
For sure.
Because we're all doing this for free.
Yep. So if you don't like the show, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Just kidding.
Just blame. My mom always told me, if you're pointing the finger, there's always 3 fingers pointing at yourself.
Yeah, and that is true. It is true. My teacher taught me that in grade 5 and 7. Great teacher.
So the story you're about to start talking about.
You already know this story?
Well, I read it this morning.
Ooh, you're just on the ball.
Sometimes, I am.
Yep.
But this is kind of goes with the same theme we've been talking about a lot, about the whole support. There's no support.
Yep.
So
what is it here? So let's say former inmate, because yesterday was the National Justice Day or something. So Prisoners Justice Day. So former inmate relays trauma during Prisoners Justice Day. And I know we had our own kind of local thing going on here at the courthouse.
Yeah.
A bunch of people came out in support of it.
So this lady was just saying how inmates aren't really being treated nicely, how there's like a power struggle within the inmates and the
within
workers.
the prison system, right? Within the actual,
And we would all assume that that's actually happening.
I don't think that's a far stretch to.
No. She was saying about a story about there was a girl that came in and she had drugs inside of her. And when you first come into the jail, you get
searched.
Yeah, but they didn't find the drugs.
Oh.
So she was put into a cell where there's like no windows. Like it's called lockdown.
Yeah.
And she was screaming and screaming and screaming and crying. The inmate with her was screaming and crying. And it took an hour for somebody to come and check on them.
Ouch.
And then it took an extra 10, 15 minutes for a nurse to come. And then the inmate was overdosing. So and she died.
Because of that time lapse.
Yeah.
They didn't go right away.
Exactly. They just like let them cry and let them scream.
Yep.
So this was a day for a justice day for people who've died and shouldn't have.
Yeah. And again, I think the stories are probably in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of things that occur.
And there was a part of me that was like, well, these people are inmates, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know what? She says, sometimes people are in there and they're not even guilty. It's just nobody bailed them out.
Yep.
So these people are actually dying within the system and they shouldn't even be in the system.
Yeah. And I was hoping to bring this up. I might as well just bring it up now. I know someone personally who was charged of a murder he didn't commit and did 10 years.
Whoa. You personally know somebody?
Yeah,
went through that.
He worked with my dad, and I didn't know him because of that. I just met him later,
right?
And told my dad about the story. He goes, I worked with him, and I know that story very, very well. So it was in Sault Ste. Marie. My dad worked with him at Algoma Steel. The man's name is John Moore, and you might know him too, Billy, right? Mm-hmm. And he's Indigenous, and at that time they had a law that said, if you knew the accusers, you must have known about the crime. Guilty by association.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy.
Just because you knew them, you should have known. So what happened was he took a cab with some nefarious people. He shouldn't have been hanging around anyways. But anyways, he's in the cab. They drop him off somewhere. He gets out. And these people then commit murder the cab driver, take his money, and leave the body in the cab, and then do the investigation. And they knew full well he didn't have anything to do with the crime. But because he knew the people,
wow,
and he ended up doing more time than any of the people involved, including the ones who actually did the murder.
Makes zero sense.
He lost his family. They all thought he was guilty because he's guilty in court. So lost his children, marriage, lost everything.
Did the story ever come out that he wasn't actually guilty?
Well, yeah. He's been fighting. I even bought the domain justiceforjohn.ca in hopes that I could do something for him, But again, it's like,
who's held accountable here? He lost 10 years of his life.
10 years, yeah.
I know a story. A cousin of mine out in Edmonton, she was saying how a Aboriginal woman was forced into like the sex trade, and her, the guy who takes care of them was beating her up all the time and tried to kill her. And then she like self-defense killed him and then is now in prison for 25 years for murder.
Wow.
But it's self-defense. But some people say it's like a racial thing, like she's Aboriginal.
Yep.
And it could be a race thing. It's really sad. I thought if someone's trying to kill me, I could defend myself.
Well, for sure.
Well, not always, it looks like.
Well, but so there are ways to defend yourself.
You would think, yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is what this former inmate was speaking about at Justice Day. And I think it's really good to educate people about what's going on in there. And this is a problem, and that there's no support mentally. That's what they were talking about, how there's no support.
Yeah.
Even for the inmates and for the coworkers, there's no mental health support.
No.
Ever. And she was saying, everybody says when you come out of jail or when you're in jail, oh, there's tons of counseling, there's tons of therapy, but there's actually isn't.
There's no integration. There's no integration plan. They have halfway houses. That just means you have a place to live.
That's it.
That's okay, but they don't really get integrated and rehabilitated, I think, is a is something we should be looking at doing as well. Like sure, you did something, but okay, that doesn't define you. Doesn't mean that's who you are, but that's what ends up happening when you go to prison. That's going to define you for the rest of your life. You did that thing. Yeah, that's it.
I think a lot of countries do have quite an intensive rehabilitation program. Yep. And, if you look at like what a lot of people say about the system here, and the comedians and people who've been in the system call it, what do they call it? Like a school for criminals.
Oh, exactly.
Basically, you go in for something very low level, and, then you're just basically, you meet all these new people and you become part of a gang, and now you're back on the outside with some
that's a thing,
new tools for making money.
For Canada. Mm-hmm. Other countries aren't this bad.
Well, I think
somewhere in the middle, probably.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
But again, it's the opposite effect. It's not rehabilitation. It's actually you get more into it, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right. The positive thing about this article, though, she does say that through the years they have had some significant training and support for correctional officers.
Yep.
Relating to mental health. So they are trying to integrate that in the system. So there's a bit of a positive there.
They realize it.
And it's probably wouldn't be happening if people weren't speaking up about it.
Yep. Yeah, thank God for that.
Yep.
Before you had Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan, who were kind of educating the people through music, right? And now, I don't know, the culture's kind of sort of turned against the, you don't see a lot of positive stories about trying to get
prisoners.
Yeah, on the other side there.
Yeah, I remember Folsom Prison, right? He went in there, did the concert and things.
Yeah.
And, just even in their writing and their songs relating to their plight, basically. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the problem. They're forgotten. They're put in jail. They're in a building and everyone kind of just forgets what's going on. They're gone.
How can you become a better human being?
No.
Like these people lack love from the get-go. For you to go into crime or do negative things is because you think you're worthless.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
I think so.
And if you feel you're worthless, why would you even try in society?
And it's hard, right? Like you want to be hard on crime because you don't want to just be lax and let things happen and have anarchy out there.
No.
But at the same time, you don't want to be so tough that, there's a lot of human rights issues and things. Everyone's equal when it comes to rights, and everyone is a person. Sure, you did something. Okay, you did something. Okay, you need to do your time. You need to whatever. But at the same time, you don't become not a human being anymore.
It's true. I remember when I was being grounded as a kid. I was always grounded. Okay, I was always in trouble, and I didn't do anything really that bad. But I was being isolated in my room, and I knew at the time, like, I'm not learning anything here.
No.
This is not teaching me anything.
No.
We need to have a conversation on why I chose to do this act and how I'm going to become better. Yep. And next time when I'm faced with this situation, how can I improve my situation? As a kid, and I was like in isolation, I was thinking about that. So it's probably the same thing on a larger scale.
Like there's one thing to be punished and then taught a lesson is a different thing in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to learn from your mistakes, you would hope.
But we need to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough talking.
No, I think we're getting less and less. We have so many more tools to talk about it, but I think we're getting less and less conversations about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when you get punished too, you get angry, and then that sort of turns into you don't build empathy for what you've done to somebody.
No.
I remember my parents just had a line where it was just like, I'll remember that.
And that was bad enough.
Yeah.
And also,
what are you going to do? Oh, I'm not going to say.
Oh no.
What? Tell me.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you're just like, just waiting for something. Now I heard other
But then your mind would turn and you'd think about what you've done, and it's all these, I don't know if it had an effect on me, but
yeah. I heard other people too saying their parents just gave them a look.
Right.
That's all they did.
Or the spoon drawer would
or
open
it just
up.
opens, right? Yeah. Things like that.
Today, if you do that, you're going to jail.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I'm calling Children's Aid on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Children's Aid, no, just kidding. Has nothing to do with it. But there is a new exhibit at Science North that is basically says Science North's new outdoor exhibit showcases Snow Lab research, and you can see the Mini Clean inner vessel as one of a kind, specially designed part of dark matter experiments at Snow Lab.
So Snow Lab is like worldwide famous.
It is.
When I was in the mining industry, I went to Vegas, And when I would tell people I'm from Sudbury, they'd be like, "Whoa, you're from Sudbury? That's so cool." We are totally famous in the mining industry, and
It's true.
because of Snow Lab.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember I was in the States too and spent 2 years there. And a friend of mine, I told him where I was from. And most people would say, "Where's that?" But, unless they knew they were in the industry or something. And I'd say, "Well, it's north of Toronto." But this friend was a geologist. And I said, "I'm from Sudbury." And his eyes he went wide. And he's like, "Sudbury, that's on the Canadian Shield. And it's some of the oldest rock in the world." And he's going on and on about how excited he was about Sudbury due to the landscape here and what we have, right?
Yeah. It's interesting, like even metaphysically, how some people think it's really cool because there's all tons of different minerals here. So if you were born here, that had an effect on you.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
You know?
makes sense.
There's different energies. Different rocks have different energies, different frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
There is definitely a different energy in Sudbury than anywhere else in the world. I attest to that. Going and coming from it so often.
Right.
Even some of the smaller cities around us. You just go away for a weekend, you come back, you're like, something different about this energy of this area,
It's almost like outer space
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, because there was a rock that came from outer space. So it's probably brought in different energies.
Possibly, yeah. And like you said, different metals
Matter.
and things and matter and all that react different and have an energy from it, frequencies and things. And so
Electromagnetic, yeah.
exactly must affect us.
Like Dr. Persinger would attest to that, that affects your brain and you have different, even, what they call it, different beliefs and stuff because of electromagnetic. He sort of made a connection.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I remember he had that helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, to like protect him?
No,
Oh.
they called it the God helmet.
Oh.
And basically he was electrical activity. You'd put this helmet on and he could trick your brain, let's say,
Ooh.
into hearing voices, or like he would put something in the computer and it would communicate with your brain.
Oh, I think you've told me about this guy before.
Mm-hmm. He just recently passed away. He was probably the most famous professor to ever be at Laurentian University worldwide.
Oh, wow.
World renowned, for sure. Videos on YouTube. Nova did a thing on him. All kinds of real cool stuff. Very innovative.
This article says how studying dark matter is challenging because it doesn't behave like the ordinary matter, that it does not absorb, reflect, or emit any light. So they fill this thing with like tons of liquid. It's really interesting. It's like 25 feet tall.
And they measure, right, the dark matter that's going through the earth
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's funny. There's a comment on the article and the guy says, yet another experiment that makes you wonder where we would be today if it weren't for 800 years of science, dark ages. 800 years ago, science was witchcraft and anyone who pursued it was murdered. That's
You're
just,
right. It's true.
So if people like looked into this dark matter, dark things, and they were murdered, it's just like that's witchcraft.
Yeah.
And today,
It's science.
it's science.
Yeah. Talking about witchcraft, this is similar to what they're doing at CERN, I would think, right? They're in the same kind of realm of study. Am I right on this?
I don't know. What CERN's more like a big particle accelerator, right?
Yeah.
I think they're studying dark matter too.
But isn't dark matter supposed to be like some of the, like neutrinos are supposed to be some of the smallest particles we know of? And then CERN is supposed to be colliding those particles together to see if we can get even smaller. And then what happens when we do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing there. But it'd be interesting to see if this, they don't say what they detected, if this was a success or not, do they?
If it's working?
Yeah.
Well, I know they found dark matter, right?
They have. And they're studying it, right?
That's what they're doing.
All kinds of experiments to do with that. Now, here's an interesting one. We talked about local politics. So this is a councillor candidate who said they weren't going to run. And we covered this on the show, said they weren't going to run because Sudbury's just so off the rails and whatever. Says now she's going to run again. Pauline Fortin.
That's who I messaged today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, way to go.
I'm going to see if we can talk to Pauline. I said, hey, I'm in Hanmer, so it's going to affect me, and I want to know what you're all about. And if she didn't want to run for those reasons, I'm actually more interested in hearing from her now.
Oh, okay. After announcing her withdrawal from the October 24th election in a couple of weeks, and likening the city of Greater Sudbury to a sinking ship, Pauline Fortin has decided she is running after all.
With her husband.
And her husband's going to run for Ward 7 and she's running for Ward 4.
Okay.
Aren't we Ward 5?
Well, she says Ward 7 is Capriol.
Yeah, which is different than...
No,
I don't think so.
because it says...
There's a map somewhere. You know, we did talk about this. We don't know where all of our boundaries are, and they have changed over the years, like where different...
Because this address
wards
here
are.
is technically Capriol.
That's true. You're right. It is. That's very confusing, by the way.
So confusing.
Yes. And the valley is, like, a lot of people don't know if they live in Valtadais, Hanmer, or, you know, like these, especially Azilda and Chelmsford. A lot of people don't know actually where they're in, if they're actually Azilda or Chelmsford. It's quite common in the areas out here. They're in the gray zones. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. She made, but smart, public relations wise, very smart.
Very smart.
I give her 2 thumbs up on that because she got in the media and was able to air the dirty laundry that she had, saying, I'm not going to run because of these things. And everyone kind of took hold of that. It's like, yeah.
And people are talking about her.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she comes back and now we're still talking about her.
Yeah, I'm going to run now. So it's like,
Genius.
keep yourself in the news. It's like that thing, no news is, no, it's not that. Any news is good news.
Right.
How could you have 2 sayings that are polar opposite like that?
I know.
No news is good news and any news is good news. I don't understand that.
Everything's got 2 ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. Well, anyway, she's keeping herself in the news and she's doing a good job of it. And for local...
I don't know if that was intentional. I think it
No?
seems pretty organic that I think
okay.
she probably really felt that way and got out of it. It's that'd be my guess.
Well, it's even better if it is legit. Like, again, right? Like, if it wasn't, 2 thumbs up. And if it was just legit, it just happened to be in her favor to get in the news a lot more.
But I also love when you're being authentic that things like that just happen.
Absolutely.
Sure. Exactly. That's why I like Billy. I'm always conspiratorial and he brings me back.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It could have been for a good reason.
I change my mind sometimes too.
We talked yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to hear Nick and I, Billy, on your drive to work, but some
of it, yeah.
someone won the Lotto 649, I think, in Sudbury. Someone had the winning ticket from this
Right.
last
I did
weekend.
read that article, yeah.
And so we don't know who it was yet, but the article was basically check your ticket because you could be the winner. And then we talked about, isn't it weird how some people have actually won the lottery more than once in their life? Like how hard it is to win the lottery in the first place is like being hit by lightning or whatever.
Yep.
Same chances.
Well, you know, we're all taught that this is a clockwork sort of universe, but
It's not.
no, I don't think it is.
So the story, a guy from Northern Ontario, man, scores big on the lotto win for the second time.
Jimmy Lalonde.
Is he from Kirkland Lake or
He's
something?
from Kirkland Lake.
Yeah.
Won the Super 7. And before he won $7 million.
In like 1991 or
1999.
99.
$7 million.
And this one is like, oh.
And it's the Super 7 he plays.
Yeah,
Oh, this one's the Lotto Max.
max. He won more than $500,000. So he won $625,000 this time.
I wonder if you have to take a picture with a mask on.
You do.
Really?
I do know that as a fact.
With a mask on, are you sure?
You have to.
Like even though you're 6 feet away from people.
No, I know this because the Lotto headquarters is in Sault Ste. Marie. And I was just there. Good friend of mine's brother works there.
And they all have to wear masks.
And I asked him that question. He said, yeah, they have to.
It gives me PTSD when I see people with masks.
I just figured people did it out of, if I was going to get my picture taken with, hey, I'm a new $7 million winner. It's like, yeah, give me a full,
mask.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what
smart, Billy.
You know what though?
baklava.
I think going forward, I think at least that's an option for people that don't want to have their face totally shown.
If I ever win the lotto, I'm going to wear a mask and people are
Yeah.
going to be really confused.
Go all out though. Wear like the whole ski mask thing,
Yeah.
like that's probably even better. But this guy obviously is known. He's won before. He's won again. So how does that happen? How do people win lotteries? Now it'd be interesting to know who's won more than twice. Because
And
even twice is like, how's that even possible?
Does he play the same numbers?
Yeah. Well, there's I just remember seeing this little bit about, the supposed luckiest woman in the world. And she just has like a string of like all these contest wins and lottery wins. I can't remember the name of it, but there's some people who say there's techniques that work that are sort of like outside the realms of science that we understand at the moment.
Well, I also truly believe that if you honestly believe you're the luckiest person, like that's a core belief.
Yeah.
And you've actually, because some of the friends I go with and we'll go to festivals, she's like, and then they'll say like, oh, Lisa always wins. And then Lisa wins.
Some people always do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it becomes a core belief. It's like an energy thing. Like you actually attract the win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like outside the, time spectrum, like you were saying, Billy.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. And I even think I maybe tapped into that a few times in my life too, being at different events. I remember they just doing a little draw at a hockey banquet at the end of the year. And I was just kind of feeling it out and thinking, you know what? Just something outside of a natural way of thinking or feeling. And I was just kind of feeling it. It's like, yeah, you know what?
I'm thinking I'm going to win.
I'm going to win that. Yeah. And I did. So I think I don't know what it was that I was doing. I probably didn't understand what was going on, but I know that feeling of just not thinking with your brain or your natural thoughts, or wanting it because I wanted it for any other reason than just to see if I was going to win. And yeah, it was a weird feeling, but it
worked.
It worked somehow. And
yeah.
I won. But I don't know if this is what's going on here. Could be. So I'd love to know who's won 3 times, like more than $1 million draw or whatever, because that would be like incredible. How is that possible? But this guy,
we'll look it up. Yeah,
many other people have won more than once. We talked about it yesterday on the show. And again, speaking of things that are weird, it happens quite a bit. Like we talk about something and we unpack it like we're doing now. We talk about it quite exhaustively. And then that day in the news, the very thing we're talking about, we didn't have a clue, comes out. Like, we were saying, it's almost like, oh, they were listening to our show. They must have done it because of that, but they weren't. And, these things take a long time, a lot of these things to happen.
So I just Googled it and there's like a list of people who've won the lotto more than once.
Oh, wow.
A lot of twice, 3 times. And now this, Mark Maltz 3 times. Calvin Spencer 3 times, 4 times. Joan
4 times?
Yeah. 5.4 million, 2 million, 3 million, 10 million, and 20. So he's won over $20 million.
Okay. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that's like just luck? Come on.
I think that's just luck, or he's he's tapped into something.
Yeah, he tapped into his uncle or something, works for like the CIA or something.
I don't know.
That's what he's tapped into.
She's actually called the luckiest woman in the world.
Well, there's the one Billy was talking about.
Lottery no fewer than 4 times.
Wow.
All of them has been in Texas.
See? What's up with that?
Well, probably because she lives in Texas.
Oh, I thought you meant all those people.
No.
Okay. She's from Texas.
He's like, the chances of winning this lottery this many times is 1 in 18 septillions.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard that word.
Well, exactly, because it's impossible.
I was just watching this clip where this guy is doing a reenactment for the news to show how he won, like, I can't remember what it was, 600,000 or something on a scratch ticket. And it's an old clip, but he scratches again just for the camera with the new ticket. And then that ticket wins, like, again, $1 million or something.
Okay. Wow.
It's one of those situations, but it was great because it was like caught on
video.
Caught on TV, yeah.
Wow. That's rare to be actually not knowing the outcome, and you're on live TV.
On
and
scratch ticket, no less, yeah.
Yeah, and you win.
Richard won 7 times.
What? There's a guy who won 7 times?
But he's only earned up to $1 million.
Combined.
Yeah.
With all of them. Oh, okay. Well, that's, again, that. Now, Miles is saying, remember when the convenience stores had the thing going on?
That's true.
And they banned them now from even participating?
Yep.
Because of that? So, yeah, there was...
That might account for some.
There were some things going on before. So, maybe there's new ways of doing it, that they're always ahead,
There might be a shamming situation because this Stefan Mandel, 14 wins, but he schemed and planned to win it by buying every single combination of the number possible.
I always thought of that. Like, Like, could you end up ahead if you spent $1 million in number combinations and the
I don't know if the math checks out on that.
Okay. Oh, anyways. Yeah. So one last thing. Remember the lotto winning numbers for New York lottery? There's only 3 numbers. And 1 year to the day after 9/11, 2001, the terrorist attacks on New York City,
The lotto ticket was 9/11.
the lottery winning numbers was 9/11.
No.
911 on the first year anniversary. You can look that up if you don't believe me. So that to me alone tells me something can be up with, the whole system itself.
Like we're wearing our tin hats and there's
Huh? But what are the chances of that? I'd love to know if there's a mathematician out there that can give the chances of that one
that doesn't make any sense.
happening.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of, I think there's over 1,000 sort of like random generator experiments been done in the past century, where it's like, they'll sit people in a room and they'll tell people, they use the standard sort of Plinko sort of model, where it's like they tell people, okay, it's slightly tilted to the left. So, you're going to see, just count the balls that land on the left and one on the right. And a group of people watching, and if they have it in their mind that the balls are going to land on the left more,
It does.
it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's something to this sort of like mind connection to
Yes.
the physical world.
They do that with science
Mhm.
too. Like if they go in with a negative attitude, they're going to have a negative response in their science
Yeah.
experiment.
And along those
The
notes,
observer effect.
Observer effect.
and along those lines, I think it's in the same category as I think they did an experiment where they had some type of matter on the other side of the world and somebody was affecting it from the opposite side of the world. They were studying it and they knew this person had to visualize that particular object or something on the other side of the world. And they did notice activity based on the other person's thoughts. Similar to what you're saying, Billy, they all wanted it to go on the left and it affected it somehow. They also knew. So I guess the amount of space between these thoughts they were kind of testing that.
It doesn't even matter.
Like, let's say the Plinko game was on the other side of the world. They were
Yeah.
still able to affect it.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, they even
Yeah.
have proved that the more people are meditating in temples in India are actually bringing down war
Mm-hmm.
around the world.
Yeah, I
There's
think
a
there is
full-blown
something to that.
correlation.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting down and thinking like we are connected, there's a lot going on.
Well, on a more kind of funny note, I always thought if these psychics out there and stuff, why aren't they just all winning the lottery kind
Yeah.
of thing, right? So, but maybe they're not supposed to use that for
So something funny
purpose.
that I heard, there's a medium on Netflix
Yep.
and he can like tap into your life and the people around you, but he can't tap into his
Oh,
own.
yeah, exactly. I thought there might be a reason like that, which would kind of make sense in
With-
some ways.
Yeah.
You don't use it for negative things, your gift, if you will.
Yeah. And I doubt there's any like real, like 100% psychics, like people have like
Mhm.
a little bit of extra sensory in this area or in
Mhm.
this area, or they might get the odd flash,
Yeah.
an image here and there. But
Yeah.
it's not like, what's the numbers going to be on Friday?
Right. 9, 11.
Funny. Okay, so let's see. Next story is we talked about this yesterday. We have a transitional housing complex that's been approved at the financial meeting. It's for $14.4 million. A decisive vote, 9-2. New members saw members of the city council approve transitional housing complex for construction on Lorraine Street, which is the corner of Notre Dame and LaSalle. And we did talk about this, but yesterday's story, they said 12 million or something like that. I thought that's weird because I thought I had seen 14 million. So I guess, I don't know if they did an update on the story or whatever, but it is 14 million. And that's for our homeless. There's going to be a 40-unit transitional housing building to solve some of our housing crisis here in Sudbury, which I think is a great thing.
Sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Sounds really expensive for only 40 unit. Does that mean just 40 people?
Yeah.
I see these tiny homes everywhere and they look so much cooler. And I feel like they'd be way cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
And probably easier to maintain and take care of. I always think there's always other ways, but at least there's something going on. But
Yeah.
that just sounds really expensive. 14 million for 40 units for 40 people.
Yeah.
What does that work out to per unit?
40 divided by 14.
Right?
Or wait, 14 million divided by 40.
40.
Yeah, you need a lot of zeros there. So 14 million divided by 40 will give you what the actual cost per
I'm
unit
guessing,
is.
I don't know, like 300 and
Divided
between
by
300 and 400.
350,000.
Wow.
Okay. So we've been doing some renos.
Yeah.
That's totally out to lunch.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
You could build like a 1-bedroom apartment for $30,000.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, this
Like
is
bare bones, you know.
bare
nothing.
bone. That's
nothing.
all they need. That's what we're living in.
No, it's true. Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah.
It's just that's where when I was in the mining industry and everybody's like cutting everybody, everyone's getting a piece of the pie.
Mhm.
And I'm always assuming that's what's happening in the city.
Well, yeah, no,
if I
I
get
think
this contract, I get 10% commission and you get this
Yeah.
and you get that and you get this. So now it's like the apartment, we could only spend $20,000, but where's the rest of the money? It's kind of like the hospital. There was tons of money for this hospital and the hospital
Yeah.
ended up being smaller than our last hospital.
yeah, it's true. They do have an index where they track this kind of thing in other countries, and in our country, it's not supposed to happen. But I just think we find other ways to get around it.
Yep.
They actually track this kind of thing, where people take bribes for.
Yeah.
In some countries, that's just the way the government works. Okay, I got to get a permit for the house. Well, I'm going to have to grease Igor's palms over there, and then he'll give me the permit.
Right.
But that's just the way it's done. They just know that's how it works. Here, they can't just come out and do that. I'm sure there's ways around it. And I do think the same kind of thing too, but I'm always thinking
we
like that.
Yeah, when we break it down, $350,000 for one unit.
Yeah.
In a building. They're building a unit.
Yeah.
So this is $350,000 for a room, for a apartment within the building.
hmm
That sounds insane.
And it's probably not 2-bedroom units. They're probably 1 bedroom at the most.
They're not going to be nice.
Probably just kind of,
This probably includes a parking lot.
Bare
This probably
bones.
includes,
Yep.
the laundry facility, but still.
yeah, I know. No, there could be other solutions. And I think we need to be a little more creative with our members of the public that are a little more vulnerable in taking care of our brothers and sisters out there. I really do. I think there's more than enough ways.
Isn't that what Pauline Fortin was talking about? How there's just insane spending happening, and that's what was annoying her.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be kind of connected, and it's just all over the place. There's no real vision or plans kind of thing.
We had that. What was her name? The mayor. She was a female.
Matichuk?
Yeah, I liked her,
Mhm.
and she said Sudbury will never change until the group of men die off.
Yeah.
It's like an old men's club here.
Yeah. Well, and you can include women in that too. Like, okay.
No, it's a man's club.
Okay.
I've heard that a
don't-
lot too. Yeah.
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 That's kind of the common sort of political structure we have here.
hmm
I think it's
Which is-
whoever's been in power, and I think there are powerful women too in the city. There's not?
No.
I don't know. I
Come
think
on.
there's kind of like a larger sort of deeper embedded kind of,
Old boys. club.
mayors can come and go, but these people have been around a while. so-
Yeah, the investors. They're not even running for
Yeah.
politics. They just run the show.
Well, bureaucrats, how many of them are men and how many are women? Because those are the ones who really stick around and make the decisions.
Do they though?
The full-time employees of the city of Sudbury are the ones, the managers of the city. They stay here all the time, and they're the ones who propose things for council, and councilors come and go. Like, they may only be here for 4 years. and they're
Right,
gone.
but I mean, it's like the players that have been here for a long time.
That's true. I do think.
Yeah. And a lot of sort of
Yeah.
systematic things
Yeah.
have been set up.
For sure.
like the funeral home. What's his name?
Jerry Lougheed Jr.
I hear he
Joffrey
has
Lougheed. Yeah.
quite the influence on our city.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And there
Yeah.
are those
And it
influential
could be
people.
good too. I mean, in a lot of ways, there's good influence
Yep.
in those situations.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bad influence or a good
Yeah.
influence.
They just are in an influential
It
position.
just reminds me of like pharmaceutical companies on a government scale. It's not really even the bureaucrats of Canada that's really doing anything. It's these corporations that are funding the programs. So it's like, I'm going to give you this much money
Yeah.
if you change
Yeah.
this law.
Yeah, that's a part of it as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm
Lobbying.
going to roll in the next one into this conversation here because I think
Okay.
it might be connected. And it is Ontario tables strong mayor legislation,
Oh, yes.
which optimistically, there's a possibility. It sounds like this could be a tool to sort of dismantle that,
Whoa.
because it gives the mayor, I guess, more power to hire and fire. But I think it's only under certain provincial
Guidelines.
or like agendas. So, like anything, it could go either way. We don't know.
But
They want to give the mayor more power in each
the
of the
mayor should have more
cities.
power.
Oh no, that's been talked about quite a bit. Yeah.
Like, we voted this person in. Why wouldn't they have the most power?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they do definitely get paid 5 times more.
So why aren't they getting the power?
Yeah.
I just feel like sometimes people get voted in and nothing really happens. Nothing really changed. Not dramatically.
hmm
Everything just moves so slowly.
Well, again, when you think of people's votes, they have one vote. He's there to do more responsibilities, to chair the meetings, to run things. There are more responsibilities the mayor has. He's always in front of the camera. He's the city spokesperson, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of power per se, if you do give one person that much more power, it always comes down to like the king. If you got a good king, it's good for your city. If you got a bad king, not good for your city. So giving someone more power can either be good or bad, right?
But then people will go and actually vote because the fact we voted this person in and this person ended up being a bad king.
They can be
But
more accountable that way too, I
Exactly.
guess, right?
So now it's like, okay, we voted this person in. They didn't do what we wanted them to do. So now everyone needs to go and vote for this new person because it actually makes a difference. So people aren't voting right now because it doesn't feel like it actually makes a difference.
It doesn't feel like it's democracy because, again, you got the same people with a different figurehead, basically.
Right.
So this could actually change. If somebody comes in and has new power, again, if they're a good king, they can do some good things. But I think we'll probably change. It might be healthy for democracy because we might be a little bit on the other side of like things are just too stagnant and you can't shake this gridlock kind of situation.
It almost feels like an illusion that we have the power, but we don't actually have the power. That the voting, that the mayor and who we're voting actually makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. I just don't. It's hard to say. It could end up, good or bad. I don't know where I stand on it.
I guess because it's different, I'm for it. It's something different, something to change the energy. It's something that we can do.
But once you change it, it's harder to take it back, right?
Well, they take everything back.
Yeah, once there's laws like that made, it's kind of like amalgamation. So there's been a few people going to be running for this election that said, hey, a lot of these outlining areas are getting forgotten. And it's all going to the city of Sudbury now that we amalgamated. And we need to put more power back into some of these outlining communities so that way they can take care of themselves. Because a lot of their services aren't being done. Like police their presence aren't really felt in Levac or Onaping or even Chelmsford, that matter. I remember at the office the other day, I work in Chelmsford and they had an issue. The police officer had to come from Sudbury for the call. Like, why wasn't there a police officer closer by? Don't they pay just as many taxes for that service than anybody else, right? So
I know.
So once you amalgamate the city, try going back now.
No, we can't.
You don't go back. So
No.
once they change this law,
Miles says something really fun, interesting. Matichuk had some funny things happen too during her tenure, like the farmer's market being sold to Laurentian without any consulting with the public.
It's true.
Too much power breeds corruption.
Well, that's what I mean. So again, right? So if just whoever has the power has the ability or the temptation or the opportunity, let's say, to use it for good or
But then
or
nothing changes.
Yep.
Everyone just stays in meetings.
Yep.
You've been on council meetings. Everyone just talks for hours and nothing happens.
Yep.
Like, let's just move in a direction.
Yeah, and Miles is saying they don't need more power, they just need more leadership skills. And that is kind of true. Like a good leader can lead by example and people want to follow and they got good ideas and they go, yeah, that's good. You don't necessarily need to go, but I said it, so it's done.
True. Yeah.
Like if you're good at persuasion and you're a good leader. I don't know. Think of good leaders we've seen in Sudbury.
I don't know any. There's
There's ones that have kind of stepped up to the plate. And I do think of a Jerry Lougheed Jr. I've heard him speak a few times, and I've been like, this guy's an incredible speaker. Like he has the ability
Yes,
to actually make people do things and change and get things moving. And I think that's why he's in the position he is. And I think that's why he's, other than getting in that hot water for that one time.
You've talked about him before and highly about him.
Yeah.
That he's a great speaker. I've never heard him speak.
Oh my goodness. Very good speaker. And so people, again, having skills, that's what we need. We need not just placeholders. Like I think that this current mayor has been accused of being like a placeholder during the pandemic. Never heard anything like, here's our city in distress, wondering what to do. He never really came out and said much. I've heard people saying that.
Mm-hmm.
All the comments that come in on Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, CBC, Northern Ontario, CTV, our feeds have mostly been, we don't really see much from our mayor currently, him saying anything or doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think more lately, I think in the last 6 months or so, he's kind of come out. But an election is coming up too.
Oh, well, how convenient.
So, I don't know. Did we skip over Laurentian here?
Yep.
The Laurentian
has a few demands of the university's leadership before it can recommend members to vote in favor of a plan of arrangement.
That's right. So they want to kind of hold off. Delay creditor vote plan, Laurentian Faculty Union asks members. So they don't want to delay it. Isn't the vote supposed to be coming up September on that? Laurentian Faculty Association has a few demands.
14th.
September 14th, yeah. And so it's put forward. It's basically, again, we've talked about this before, but what a plan of arrangement is when you go bankrupt, it's the plan you have to pay back the people you owe money to. Because you go on bankrupt, you're basically shown you can't keep running your operations. You don't have enough money. So now you've owed all these people money and they're saying, well, where's my money? And they go, well, we can give you this. And then they have to say, yeah, okay. Or at least a good chunk of them. I think it's 50% or something of the creditors have to vote yes.
I'm not sure.
And then the faculty and the people of Laurentian also have to vote yes. So it's both sides. The people of Laurentian have to vote yes, and the creditor, people that are owed the money to have to say, yeah, we agree with this plan. Then it goes forward.
There's a comment on the article that says, so faculty from low attendance courses and your assistants were let go, making you have to do your own work. And you want to guarantee they will hire more assistants before you vote? Wow, entitled much.
Yeah. Again, the not good sentiment from a lot of people in Sudbury over this whole thing, for sure.
Like, get off your high horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting thing. I was working on our website, which is going to be, if anyone wants to check out Sudbury.news, it's almost done. Like there's a few things we're working on and that's about it. But I'm working with an incredible young man who currently is in his last year of computer science at Laurentian. We're just talking about Laurentian. He's working for the Bank of Canada as well. In his summer, he's a whippersnapper. He's really good at his computer stuff. And I was just saying, like, how is that going to feel? He's from Oshawa, and he's taking this course at Laurentian. I said, how's that going to feel now when you have that on your resume and it's kind of you're applying for jobs across Canada, and they see Laurentian, and now it's known. Before it would have been, oh, where is that university? But now because it's so publicly known what happened, is he going to look at that as a black mark? And we just kind of had a laugh about that and whatever. He said, yeah, if he would have known that going in, that would have been the result, he probably wouldn't have enrolled.
Right.
In a university that's now known as the only university in Canada that's gone bankrupt. You know.
Well, moving on.
Okay, Nick. Which one do you have there?
Well, I really want to talk about, it's not the next article, but I really want to talk about this football team.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's there. I was going to save it for tomorrow's sports segment, but we could also talk about, they
won.
The Junior Spartans won the championship.
This is the first time.
In like a long time that they even won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a big deal for Sudbury.
It is. Even just having a champion anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sudbury Junior Spartans won their championship game. I tried watching the game, but the volume, there was something wrong with the volume on the broadcaster's end, and my heart goes out to them because now more than ever, I understand the technical difficulties that could happen in a live situation. And so their mic was coming in and out. But I went through the game. What a game. They came back too. They were losing with like minutes to go in the game. Came back and won.
That is so cool. Who owns that team?
Dario Zulich.
I was downtown yesterday.
Okay.
And nothing's open. I was there at 3 p.m. and there's like no lunch rush or nobody, nothing's even open. Like,
so you weren't able to go in and grab
I couldn't even
something?
go in, like the Buddha, they opened at 3.
Wow.
So I was there at 2:45. Nothing's open. All these like buildings are closed. Like they're not even being used. And I'm like, why are we saving downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Why? I was walking downtown. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's not even a corner store downtown.
Oh, did they close it? The one on the corner of Elm and
Yeah. That's now.
Durham?
Yeah.
Really?
It's now
A marijuana shop?
no, I feel like it's like a vegan shop.
Oh, okay.
Like it's called
It's a vegan shop.
like Fresh or something.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I don't even know. But and everything down I don't
It's
know.
struggling. It is struggling. There's no doubt about it.
So we're just having
Very
that
bad.
conversation how the entertainment center would be such a great
I know.
thing for Sudbury.
Yep.
I feel like people would still go to Respect is Burning because I love that restaurant. It's my favorite restaurant. I feel like people will still go to restaurants and maybe on that one street.
Yeah.
But
Look, we need to get a think tank. Maybe Bruce Mao would be great to get as part of a think tank, as part of, like making recommendations. People that aren't elected, people that aren't being paid, don't have any kind of, reasons for coming up with ideas. Lee says, I agree, close it.
and it doesn't even need to be closed. We just need to
Yeah.
also create somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the big idea is if people put housing down there, if there's a lot of people living downtown,
Yep. For sure.
it would be like, I think, a vibrant, exciting place.
That's a great idea.
Because then you
All
need shops, you need hairdressing places,
All
you
those
need
buildings.
restaurants. Exactly.
empty buildings.
Exactly. And we're ready for that now. And we're ready
And
to,
people would love to live downtown.
that's right. And we're ready for Earshot Daily on CKLU.
Yep.
Thanks guys for joining me. And sorry for the abrupt ending. It's just I look at the time and
We got to go.
we gotta go. But thanks for being with us, everyone. Thanks for commenting. Catch us tomorrow, same time, same place, where I think Nick's going to be back in the hot seat and Billy will be at work, but he'll be listening on his car on the way to work.
I will.
Thanks everyone for listening and watching. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, right here on Sudbury News Talk, CKLU 96.7 FM and Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Ciao.
Bye.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.